Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, following up my Shop My Stash quarantine makeup series, I am back again with another full face, and this time I am going to use makeup products with fun printed packaging. So I have a bin full of makeup right here, and most of these products has got a unique print on the packaging, such as this Physicians Formula, this Jeffree Star, which is normally different from what you see when you buy makeup products, because majority of them usually comes in either gold, white, or just like a classic black packaging. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. I am going to recreate this makeup look that I found on Pinterest. And also I will link Mariah Leonard's video where she did a similar look, but she called her look a watercolor inspired makeup look, which I feel like is somewhat similar, but then on that video she kind of used a different color. So I am going to use the Jeffree Star Jawbreaker eyeshadow palette because I have not used this for a while, and based on this photo right here, the colors that were used are only three. So you have more of like a teal green, which is probably this one right here, and I am going to use the peach tone right here, and also the yellow that comes in here. And also for transition, I wanted a little bit of something, so I might pop a little bit of that shade right here on the brow bone. So let's start with priming our eyes. I am going to use the Revolution Supersize Conceal and Define Concealer. I love the tone of this because it's pretty light, and also it lasts a long time on my lids. And mind you, I have oily lids. I am going to start out by setting my lids because that's a must for me. So I'm going to use this shade called Good Morning. It's not stark white, but it has a little bit of pink to it, which I think will kind of act as a good foundation base for the eye look. It's not gonna be too white and too intense. Then I'm going to add a little bit of this white shade just on the inner corner because we're going to pop the yellow in the inner corner, so I want that to be a little bit brighter than usual, just so we can have that yellow pop. So on the look, I feel like I have to start out with the peach shade because it kind of fades out to that teal color and the yellow. So I'm going to pick up this shade right here, which is called FUCK, and I'm going to use just one brush to pack all the colors. I'm just gonna have to wipe off each shade and then go back with another shade. So I'm going to start out with that peachy shade and then pop that on the center. This shade is showing up as a little bit of a darker pink instead of peach against my skin tone. So I'm going to mix a little bit of white to make it more pastel. So I went all the way up because I want it to be a little bit more of like that watercolor fade. I'm gonna do the same on the other eye. So it kind of turned into more of a pink shade as opposed to it being peachy. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. Maybe I'll insert a little bit of this shade right here, which is called Cone, to bring a little bit of peachiness back to the shade. And I think that's working because it's adding a little bit of that yellow on the shade. Don't worry if it's a little bit messy because we are going to fix that. I think that's working a lot better. And I'm going to pop just a little bit of that pink on the crease. So then I am going to go and use this shade right here, and I'm going to mix a little bit of white with it as well because I feel like this shade can look a little bit dark on my skin, but we'll have to see once I've applied it. I think that's looking a little bit fine, but I want it to be a little bit pastel, so I'm going to add a little bit of that blue shade. Ooh, that's a lot better. She's a little bit patchy though. I think it's because my lids is a little bit dry at the moment. But that's looking better. So now I'm going to go back to this shade right here just to mix these two shades together. And like you see that fade. And then I'm adding a little bit of that neon peach right there. And a little bit of white just on the top bit. And kind of go over the whole shade once again. So now that I got that down, I am going to do the same thing on the other eye, starting off with that teal shade called Cute. And so now I am going to move on to the yellow shade and slowly fade that into the peach, and this time I'm going to mix that in with a little bit of white as well because it's a little bit intense. And I want that intensity to focus more on the inner corner as opposed to it blending into the peach. And this shade is blending into the peach a little bit more better than the blue, I guess because they have sort of like a similar brighter tone to it, that it's more easy to work. And I am not good with this type of look, guys. I'm trying really hard. I could do a colorful look, but it's not as complex as this. Because I'm just gonna leave the eyes for now because I feel like that's fine. And we are going to finish the rest later on. So now I'm gonna move on to the face. I'm going to first apply this Physicians Formula Spotlight Primer. I love this stuff because even though it's a little bit glittery, it honestly makes your skin glow and it doesn't make it super greasy. And this is perfect for underneath the foundation because the foundation that I'm gonna use today is a little bit too matte. And for foundation today, I am going to use the Make a MAC Selfie Skin 2-in-1 Foundation Concealer, and this one is in the shade Medium Olive. Again, this is a little bit too light for me, but I really like the coverage that it gives. And also the finish, like this is the type of foundation that you don't need a lot of product to achieve a full coverage, because this much right here will easily give you that full coverage that you wanted. Obviously, if you use a sponge, it will less likely to look a little bit more full, but my skin is doing a little bit weird today, but I don't want a full coverage because we have a light, very pastel eye makeup that I don't want to take that away from. Just having super full-on coverage. I want it to look a little bit fresh. I could stop right here, but because I have like a scab that looks really nasty at the moment, I'm gonna have to cover it with a little bit more foundation. And this foundation dries into a more of a matte finish, so the powder that I was able to find with a fun packaging, she's very mattifying, so I don't know how that will work with this foundation because this foundation is already setting into the skin and it's giving me that soft matte finish. So I'm going to go back to the Revolution Supersize Concealer and brighten up the under eye. For powder today, I am going to use this Innisfree what's this called? No Sebum moisturizing powder. So I do know that the green version of this is popular, but that one's super mattifying. So I picked up this more moisturizing one. It does feel a little bit cold on my skin, but it does a great job in setting my face and keeping certain parts of my skin matte. It also has a more herbally scent, which I don't mind because it kind of reminds me of a clean beauty makeup product. And for bronzer today, I have the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I love this. It smells amazing. It's a great product though. I find it not very opaque against my skin tone, so I have to usually pile it up a lot, but it's a nice bronzer. And for this type of makeup look, we don't really need to have a heavy bronzer, otherwise it will just take everything away from the eyes. And I don't want to put any blush as well, or maybe I should. The photo on Pinterest has got a little bit of that peachy blush, so I might have to apply a little bit of blush. I have this Essence Crystal Power, so this is a little bit more pigmented, so I'm just gonna have to use a dab of product and blend that all over my skin. I'm going to mix a little bit of this one and this one. The lower lash line has got a pink, a very strong pink lower lash line, so I'm going to use this shade right here, which is called Bubblegum, and I'm going to apply that directly on the lower lash line. So I already have a little bit of blue in there, so I'll just blend it out. And then I'm going to go back to that sky blue shade called Brain Freeze. I'm just gonna have to fix this side right here. And then I am going to go and pick up that yellow once again, just to connect that on the inner corner. For some reason, this eye makeup look is kind of oxidizing on my skin tone, but we're just gonna have to work with it. So as you can see here, the edges are a little bit darker, and I have tried to pile on a lot of the shade already, but it seems like it's just oxidizing even more. So I think I'm going to leave it in here. And then I'm just gonna quickly apply some mascara and tight line, and then we're gonna move on to the rest of the face. So here is the final makeup look with mascara. Actually, once my mascara is on, I kinda like the way it looks. So now I'm going to try and highlight a little bit, and we're going to go back to this Essence Crystal Power palette, and I'm going to use this shade right here called Glowing Energy. Because I looked at the photo again and the model looks a little bit glowy, so we're just gonna have to fake the glow. And lastly, the lips. The lips, I'm not gonna do too much on the model. It's a nude lip, so what I'm going to do is to apply 3 lip products. So I'm going to first start off with the Jordana lip liner, and this one is in the shade Tawny, and then I'm gonna go over it with this Mecca Max lipstick in the shade Heaven Sent, and this is more of a peachy kind of orangey shade of nude. And then I'm going to tone it down with the Australis Demi Matte Lip Cream, and this one is in the shade Empower. This is more of that cool tone peachy nude. Here is my final makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do apologize if the colors doesn't seem to work out as opaque as I would want them to look like, because I have such a really dark eyelids. Majority of the shadows on the Jawbreaker kind of oxidizes on my lids. I did try to put like a very light concealer. It kind of showed up a little bit, but not to an extent. But then again, this eyeshadow palette is amazing because for it to show up to my skin tone, it's still unbelievable. But yeah, I'm still quite obsessed with this look, even though you could kind of tell that the edge of the makeup look is kind of oxidizing. I've said that so many times, but yeah, I hope you guys are doing okay. This wraps up my shop my stash. The video after this is going to be a full face of one brand, so stay tuned for that, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.